So today we've got a short, sharp blast of Feisty Functional. So as always, we're going to start standing and find that comfortable standing position, working forwards and backwards, let that movement travel out to the side, waking up into the ankles, which then wakes up into the knees, which then wakes up into the hips, and kind of ripples all the way up the body. And then rising up onto the balls of the feet, lifting up. And on the out breath, slowly lowering down. Lovely, we'll get to wherever we get to, maybe here, maybe here, maybe here. And then we'll rise all the way back up. Lovely, so if we can keep the heels lifted and then softening down. Okay, keep it a bit more sociable. Lovely, rising up slowly, slowly. Nice, and then heels can come down. We're going to bring the chin to the chest, let's roll through the spine, bone by bone. We can shuffle into the shoulders or we can just roll straight down. Keep the knees soft. Once we've got as low as we're going to get, we're going to roll all the way back up. See if we can get it bone by bone. So the whole idea is to get fluidity into the spine. Lovely. Chin to the chest. Once you're at the top, we're going to roll all the way back down. Lovely. And then slowly replacing every single vertebra one at a time. And this time, once we get to the bottom, we're going to stay down. So take your time, no rush. You know what you're feeling in your own body. And then we're going to make our way down to seated. And then from seated, we're going to make our way down to lying. Lovely. So the hands can come behind the head. And on the in-breath, the elbows come wide. And on the out-breath, we lift the chin to the chest. Lovely, head comes back, elbows wide. And exhaling, chin to the chest, with a stretch across the back of the shoulders, into the space between the shoulder blades. Lovely, last one here. Shoulders stay down. And then bringing the hands to wherever's comfortable, the belly, the ground, wherever. Walk the feet out a little bit wider on, just kind of slightly adjust. There we go. Feet out a little bit wider, so that mat width apart if we're using a mat, and we can let the knees drop to one side. On an in-breath, slowly coming back through center, and on the out-breath, they come to the other side. So we're starting to find that connection with the breath and the movement. We start to work with the body rather than against it. So we breathe in, knees back to the center, and we breathe out. We find a little bit of a twist. Lovely. One more time on each side, in your own breath, your own time. And then straightening both legs out, arms above the head. Let's reach the right hand away from the right foot and left hand away from the left foot. One more time on each side. Notice maybe that the hips start to move in the center. Lovely. And then knees into the chest. Hands on top of the knees. We're going to take a breath in here. And on the out breath, hug the knees in as close as we can. Lovely, breathing in, the knees come away. And exhaling, knees into the chest. Let's do a couple more here. And notice not just the breath and the movement, but also that shift into the lower back. So we bring the knees away, slight arch into the lower back, knees into the chest, flattening into the lower back. We're going to play with that with a different relationship to gravity. So we're going to bring soles of the feet onto the floor. From here, we're going to find that same tilt. So we're going to inhale to arch into the lower back as if we want to slide a hand under, exhaling to scoop the tailbone. Breathing into arch, exhale to flatten. Lovely, one more here. And then this time, same but different. As we breathe in, we're going to lift the hips. We're using the glutes here, exhaling to place every single vertebra down one at a time. Lovely. So we breathe in to arch, exhale to flatten, and then rippling up the spine. Lovely. Let's do a couple more here. So again, finding that articulation, that ripple up the spine, rather than just hinging into the hips. Really nice. From here, knees back into the chest. We're going to find our way back to seated. We could do that by rolling the knees to the side or hands behind the thighs as we do a little rock and roll. Lovely, mini massage from the inside out. And this is probably up there with why I love teaching yoga so much, because what other job can you get away with doing this in? We're going to bring the soles of the feet down. It's kind of frowned upon past the age of 5, isn't it? So as the feet come down, we're going to breathe in to lift and then turn the ribs towards one side and then hands come down. Lovely. Let's do the same on the other side. So turning up ribs to the side, and then the hands join in. Now we're going to carry on with your own breath for a couple of times. The reason that I encourage using the ribs to turn first is that often we think we're twisting, but we're just moving into the shoulders. Our shoulders have a lot more mobility built into them than other parts of the spine. So if we're really going to get that spinal twist, we can let the ribs start to do the movement first. Lovely. One more time on each side. Start to wring out all those little juicy spaces. And then this time, right hand down, left arm lifts up. And we fan the ribs out to the side. Lovely. Left hand down, right arm lifts, fanning the ribs out. Lovely. Let's do a couple more on each side. So we're looking for height here rather than trying to come down as far as we possibly can. So that's all about this space here. Lovely. And then hands can come underneath the shoulders and the knees can come underneath the hips. We're going to shift side to side, forwards, backwards. We can circle. Give the wrists a little bit of love. Press down into the fingertips, spread the fingers wide. Lovely. And then let's do the same, but different relationship to gravity. So we're going to lift the tailbone only, and then let the tailbone squeeze down. This is where wearing a fluorescent top is quite useful. Lifting up, and then scooping down. So my ribs aren't moving. Tiny, tiny movement just into the lower back here. Really nice. And then we're going to let that movement travel. So we're going to scoop the tailbone down, let that travel into the mid ribs, into the shoulder blades. We can release the head down and then reverse that ripple. So I say it every time, but we're not hinging in between the middle, dropping between cat-cow. We're finding that snaking action along the back of the body, up the spine and then down the spine. Lovely. From here, we can draw that right knee in towards the nose, and then the right leg can come out no higher than the hips. Lovely. Exhale to scoop in, send that leg behind. Lovely. And so this is where we're staying strong into the body rather than lifting up and then sagging through the lower back. From here, we can bring that right foot to the outside of the right hand and explore. We're moving here. So we're circling. It can be big, small, fast, slow circles. The conversation happening with your own body. This time, oh, hello. I'm being heckled by some blue tits. They've lost their nerve. Right. Knees together. Sit bones to the heels, find child's pose. Lovely. Hands come over to one side, doesn't matter which one. And then we're going to side reach to the other side. So again, the idea of fanning out into the ribs, finding space into the side body. Really nice. One more time. Over to that second side. And then slowly coming back in. Knees back underneath the hips, so circle the hips in both directions. Lovely. Let that movement travel into the ribs, into the shoulders, kind of barrel rolling into the body. Oh, that's better already, right? So we can bring the left knee in towards the nose, left leg can come out no higher than the hip, and then scooping in, coming out. Lovely. From here, we're going to bring that left foot to the outside of the left hand. And again, just explore. Good morning, or if you're watching the recorded one, good evening or afternoon. To the left hamstring, to the right front of the hip, to the left foot. Really nice. From here, sitting back onto the heels, elbows now in contact with the knees, and we're going to bring the palms down. So we're going to round in between the shoulder blades, head drops down, and then squeeze shoulder blades together. So something to look out for here is often when we can't get a bigger range of movement that we might be looking for in our body, we start to send it elsewhere. So notice if you're starting to bring the head forward because you can't get any further, keep the neck nice and neutral. This is just into the thoracic spine, so into that space, into the rib cage. Lovely. Hands can come forwards, tuck the toes under, sit bones lift. Stepping, walking, jumping to the top of the mat. Breathing in, lift halfway. On the out breath, we fold. Press down into the feet, lifting tall, hands above the head. Lovely hands by this side, really nice. Let's warm up the body, shall we? So we're going to breathe in, lifting up, and exhaling to edge down. Inhaling to lift halfway. Hands down, feet back, fan tack. Lovely, knees lower, hand comes down, heart comes down between hands. Breathing in, sky over. Lovely, hands under the shoulders, pressing back into downward facing dog. And we can move here We can pedal out the feet, we can shake the head no, not the head yes. Before stepping, walking, jumping to the top of the mat, rise with a flat back. On the out breath, refold. Press down into the feet, lifting tall. And the hands come down both sides. Let's carry on breathing in. And breathing out, swan dive the body down, knees can stay soft. Inhale, lift halfway. Hands down, feet back. Find plank. Choose whether you want to lower the knees down or with the knees lifted. And we're gonna find our heart and put our arms away. Lovely. Hands under the shoulders, pressing back into downward facing dog. And we can pedal, we can move, or we can be still. So notice feedback from your own body here. Lovely. If it feels like we're bunching up into the shoulders a little bit, we can either slide the shoulder blades back into the body or bring the hands a little bit wider, find space for the neck. Lovely. When you're ready, stepping, walking, jumping to the top of the mat, rise with a flat back. On the out breath, we fold. Press into the feet, lifting tall, hands above the head. And hands by the side, lovely. Bending into the knees, chair pose. Rock the weight into the heels, lifting the toes, and then rising up onto the balls of the feet. Lovely. Really nice, guys. So hopefully the movement is just into the soles of the feet. From here, hands come down, left foot back, left knee down, right arm lifts. Right hand down, left arm lifts. Let's do one more on each side. And again, see if we can get that movement into the ribs rather than into the hips. Hips stay where they are. Both hands down, both feet back, finding plank. Let's lower. Find your skydiver. Option to lift the legs. Hands underneath the shoulders, pressing back into downward facing dog. From here, left foot into the center at the back, right leg lifts. Right foot steps through to the top, and we rise. Lovely. So from here, notice how it feels in this left hip. If it feels like you're kind of stretching here, we can bend into that back knee. That just makes it more calfy. So just bear in mind where you want to be. Hands can be on the shoulders. I'm going to twist to one side. Breathing in through center as we twist to the other. Lovely, one more time on each side. Again, see if we can get the ribs to join in rather than just the shoulders. Hand onto the hip, let's side reach. Find a side reach to the other side. One more time on each side, lovely. And from here, both hands down, both feet back, find plank. Lower as you wish. Find your back bend. Lovely, hands under the shoulders. Make your way into downward facing dog. And we can breathe here. Pedaling, walking, lovely. Stepping, walking, jumping to the top of the mat. Rise with a flat back. On the out breath, we fold. Bend into the knees, chair pose. Lovely. Hands into the chest, let's lift. Really nice. Let's do the same on the other side. So bending into the knees. Notice what's happening to the shoulders. Lovely. Hands can come down. This time, right foot steps back. Right knee down. Left arm lifts. I'm going to swap around to the other side. And then one more time on each side. Again, movement coming from the ribs rather than the hips. Really nice. Both hands down. Step back. Let's lower. Find your easing, opening into the heart. Hands under the shoulders. Let's press back. Downward facing dog. From here, right foot into the center at the back. Left leg lifts. Left foot comes forwards. And we rise. Again, notice what's happening with the hip, with that back knee. Find where you want to be. Lovely. And then hands to the shoulders. We're going to find that twist to one side. Breathing in through center as we twist to the other. One more time on each side. And then this time, hands onto the hips, side reaching. Really nice, guys. That's lovely. Awesome. When you're ready, hands down, step back, plank. Lower as you wish. Find your back bend. Hands under the shoulders, pressing back, downward facing dog. Stepping, walking, jumping to the top of the mat, rise with a flat back. On the out breath, we fold. Press down into the feet, lifting tall. And hands coming back. Lovely. From here, the right leg lifts. We're going to send that right foot
back. So this is Superman or Warrior 1, just as much, Warrior 3, just as much as this, or any other variation. So find where you want to be for this time. Lovely. And from here, we're going to find, so it's the right leg that's lifted, we're going to find a little bit of a pulse into that standing knee. So left knee can bend. Lovely. We can start to squeeze everything into the center and then lengthening out. Lovely. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then lengthening out. Lovely. Last one. Ooh, don't try to move your head around. Lovely. And then lengthening out. And from here, both hands down, both feet back, coming into plank. We're going to squeeze right knee in towards the nose. And then coming back to plank. Right knee in towards the nose or in towards the chest and then coming back. So you can either round the head down or squeeze into the ribs. And then from here, right knee to right elbow. Lovely. Right knee to left elbow. Awesome. Right knee to right elbow. Sliding to the right wrist. So sliding down, sliding back up to the elbow, down to the wrist, up to the elbow, down to the wrist, and then bring that right knee behind the right wrist. Left foot can come back, coming into pigeon. Lovely. So from here, options to explore. It can feel really nice to find a gentle shift side to side. To bring the forearms down, to get even lower. It might feel nice to explore strength here. Hands parallel to the hips or up towards the ceiling. And remembering that none of those options is better or more or less advanced. The most advanced yoga is one done with awareness, so listening to where your body needs to be. Lovely. When you're ready, hands coming back underneath the shoulders, left toes tuck under. Let's step back into downward facing dog. Really nice. From here, right foot lifts, right knee into the chest. Right knee lifts, right foot into the chest, right knee into the chest. Please don't put your foot into your chest. Do one more here. And then we're going to do the same. So right knee to right elbow. And then lifting up. Right knee to left elbow. And then lifting up. Right knee to right elbow. Sliding down to the wrist. Up to the elbow. Down to the wrist. Up to the elbow. And then stepping back into downward facing dog. Knees come wide. Toes together. Sit bones to the heels. Find child's pose. Press down into the fingertips, the palms lift. And we breathe. Send the breath into the back of the ribs. One more deep breath there, breathing in fully. And exhaling completely. Hands back underneath the shoulders. Let's shift forwards, tuck the toes under, and find downward facing dog. From here, right leg lifts. Right foot steps forwards. And we rise. Lovely. Pulse through that back leg. Really nice. Visualize where we're going. We're going to come back up to a standing balance. This time with the left leg back. So floating up and then squeezing into the center. Floating up and then squeezing in. Lovely. Let's do one more here. Awesome. And then left foot comes back, both hands down, finding plank again. There's always the option here to do all of this with the knees down as well. If we're doing it with the knees down, they're where they would be from a plank rather than into all fours. Lovely. So finding where you need to be for this round, we're going to bring left knee in towards the chest, rounding, scooping, and then stepping back. Lovely, scooping in, and then back. Last one. Before we start to bring that left knee to the left elbow. Lovely. Left knee to right elbow. Left knee to left elbow. Slide down to the wrist. To the elbow. To the wrist. To the elbow. Couple more times here. And then we'll bring that left knee behind the left wrist. Right foot comes back. We can shift side to side. Again, same options as before. Getting low, getting strengthy. Find where you need to be this time, this side, this breath. Doesn't need to be the same as it was on the other side. Let the breath gently return back to its natural ebb and flow. And then hands under the shoulders. Tucking the right toes under. Let's step back into downward facing dog. We can shake the head no, nod the head yes. Pedal through the feet again. And this time right foot into the center at the back as the left leg lifts. Really nice squeezing in as we draw the left knee in towards the nose. And then lifting up. Lovely, few more breaths here. Find your little rhythm with your own body, your own breath here. Before we start to bring left knee to left elbow. Inhaling to lift, left knee to right elbow, find a twist. Lovely, couple more here. As we bring the elbow to knee to the elbow, to the wrist, to the elbow, to the wrist, elbow, and wrist. And then stepping back into child's pose, knees wide, toes together. Let's find that side reach to one side. Really nice, find the side reach to the other. One more time on each side. Awesome. And then hands underneath the shoulders. Let's press all the way down to lying on the belly. So from here, left arm across the mat, right leg lifts and the right foot slightly further down. Left leg lifts, left foot comes slightly further down. Find the right ankle into the right hand. Maybe flex the foot. Maybe start to find that shift into the lower back again. So we scoop the tailbone down. We feel the engagement across the front of that right thigh. Lovely. We're going to come onto the other side. So right hand now parallel to the mat, left hand comes behind, flexing into the ankle. Find that tilt into your own pelvis until we start to feel that across the front of the left thigh. Really nice. Gently releasing both ankles. Right hand across the top of the mat as we roll to lie on the back. Lovely. So soles of the feet onto the floor. We're going to find that lift into the back again. So we inhale to arch, exhale to scoop down. Couple more here, breathing in and breathing out. This time, same but different. We're going to inhale to arch, exhale to scoop, and then keep that scoop traveling as we lift the ribs away from the mat and then placing every single vertebra down one at a time. We've been here before. How does it feel now? The body's a lot warmer. Notice how it feels this time, this breath. Even in a short time since we were last here. Notice, tune into the conversation in your own body. Lovely. So from here, right knee into the chest, we circle that right knee around. Lovely. And then left knee into the chest, circle the left knee around. Awesome. We're going to make our way back up to seated. We can rock and roll, or we can roll to the side. Again, you choose. Really nice. So from here, we want to find, if you've got a yoga block or a book, that can be really helpful. We're going to do some seated postures. So, Bill Bryson's The Body is like the perfect size. Or if you have a yoga brick, that's that sort of size. So the reason why we use this is that naturally, all of us will have a natural tendency to either tilt forwards or to tilt back onto the hips. So whenever we come into these seated postures, if we have a tendency to tilt back, to scoop and flatten the lower back, then immediately you're working against your body. Whereas if you can find a little bit of length and height, suddenly that tilts your pelvis a little bit and you can find a bit more space rather than like that. Nobody wants to be doing that unless you're like a zombie extra or something, in which case it's very good practice. So we're going to bring the heels in towards the sit bones and then maybe butterfly the knees, maybe walk the hands out in front, maybe bring the hands back behind. These are just different options to tune into your body. Where does it feel best? Where can I get space and length into my spine rather than this, what we're doing, plugging everything back in. So where can you get that shape within your body? Lovely. And then from here, we're going to bring our right leg out to the side. Bring the left foot in towards the sole of, in towards the thigh. And we're going to twist. So before we've even started, we're twisting the ribs towards the straight leg. Breathing in to lift up and exhaling as we reach forwards. So we're trying to get the nose towards the toes, which obviously isn't going to happen, rather than nose towards the knee and then kind of rounding. You see the difference. So we're plugging shoulder blades back into the body. Really nice. One more breath here. We can bend into that back knee as we want to as well. And then from here, slowly, slowly coming back to center, right hand onto the straight leg, left hand can come onto the lower back, finding a side reach. Option to bring the left hand onto the ribs, left hand onto the shoulder, left hand behind the ear, or maybe that left arm reaches over. Lovely. And we can ease to gravity. So again, rather than trying to come down, we're trying to reach away. Lovely. Really nice. We can bring that right hand onto the knee to gently find a little bit more of a twist here. Lovely. So the idea is that whatever we're doing, keeping that left shoulder open. Really nice. So we should start to feel this into the QL, quadratus lumborum, sneaky muscle, deep into the lower back. Right foot stays active. Lovely. Let's come through to the other side. So slowly, slowly unraveling. If we do a lot of sitting, then this is a really good one. Also really good for cyclists for that same reason. Any sport that we're kind of sat down, that's a really good one. Lovely. So let's do the same again. So right foot now bends into the left leg. Left foot active, still there joining in. Lovely. Breathing in. Let's twist towards that straight leg. As we breathe out, come forwards. So I like to have my hands to the side because that way I can breathe in and then just maybe inch, just like a millimeter with each breath, rather than trying to kind of force everything down. Lovely. Again, we can soften into that left knee as well. And space in the neck, so not jutting the chin forwards. Lovely. From here, left hand onto the left leg, right hand onto the lower back. Really nice. Find that twist. So we're twisting first. Hand to the rib, maybe, shoulder, fingertips behind the ear. Maybe we reach away. But we're looking for twist first and then a fold. So maybe to help with this, we bring the left hand onto the knee. So again, to get a bit more of a spiral, we want to have this space in the right shoulder, wherever we get to. So for some of us, that will mean having the hand onto the lower back. Really nice. Slowly, slowly coming back up. This time, I'm going to sit back on my book and bring my feet nice and wide. So again, tilting, find that tilt into the pelvis, find length, and then exhale to edge forwards. Some of us might have our knees really bent here, so the feet still active. Doesn't matter, it's not about how much can I pancake down onto the ground. Conversation with your own body, and every time that you come here, it'll be different. That's why I love yoga so much, is that it's never the same. You're always dealing with slightly different responses into the body. Even if you do the same sequence, you find each day is different. Which is why it's called a practice rather than I have done yoga, I have achieved yoga. We practice it. Lovely. We're going to slowly come back up. Now, we're going to make our way down to lying to come into our final relaxation or recovery, as we would say in sports yoga. So we can do that how you like. If you want to make it feisty, you can roll down just a couple of vertebrae at a time. Or you can just go, yeah, thanks, Esther, I'm just going to lie down. So making your way down to lying. Comfortable lying. We always press save on everything that we've just done. Let the body absorb it. And what we're looking to do in recovery is to send the body away from the stress response and into the state of rest and digest. So to do that, we use the breath. So find comfortable lying. Any last movements that you want to do into the body, knees into the chest. Roll to one side, roll to the other, full body stretch. Give your body a chance, your head to a chance to catch up with where your body's got to. And then we'll start to move towards a position where you can be still.
So that might be the legs straight, palms facing up next to the body, might be soles of the feet onto the floor, knees dropping into the center, hands to the belly, hands above the head. Any other variation, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Any other variation that you need to find this time. And I'm going to stop the recording here. You can stay in your relaxation as long as you like.